Do you think we're getting close here? I mean, is this going to fall into place? Is it too late? Is it going to come just in time? What do you think?
Well, it should have been done months ago, frankly, but it's never too late to do the right thing, as my mother used to tell me, and it's urgently needed. So we're very optimistic about this meeting that's supposed to take place at 4 p.m. this afternoon between Speaker Pelosi, Leader McConnell, Schumer, and McCarthy to stitch together this deal that hopefully can be enacted before the end of the week or at the latest the very beginning of next week. Our latest survey data on small business indicates that if for some reason they were to fail to get a deal, that this were to kick into next year, we would lose tens of thousands of small businesses while Washington squabbles.
Yeah, let's talk about the restaurants for one moment, because we're going to speak with RBI in a couple of minutes, but they're one of the chains. They own Burger King, they own Popeyes and that sort of thing. But for the mom and pop restaurants that have been closing across the country, there's another round of PPP relief that is in this bill, $300 billion worth, but it's not targeted. They're going to have to fight with everybody else for a piece of that. A lot of them don't have great existing banking relationships and that kind of thing. How do we make sure this money gets where it's most needed?
Well, I do think they've made some improvements on this second round of PPP over the initial program, in part because we've learned, and in part because the circumstances that we face today are different than what we faced in the spring. So they are targeting this second draw PPP to those businesses who have continuing revenue decline compared to the prior year. So it's not going to be available to everyone. They are limiting the number of employees that are eligible if you have that you're eligible to get a PPP loan. They're also expanding how you can use the money. And particularly for minority and Black-owned businesses, they're setting aside some of the money to be targeted through avenues that are most likely to reach them. When we look at our data, we show that about 9%, 1 in 10 small businesses say that under current conditions, they'll close permanently in less than 3 months. 27% say 3 to 6 months. So there's enough here that we think can target where the need exists, that those 10% of businesses that won't make it without additional action.
Real quickly, the PPP funds are still aimed towards the smallest businesses. Is that right? I mean, the Fed's Main Street lending program was supposed to pick up the slack for a lot of those larger middle-sized companies, and it's effectively being wound down with very little to show for itself. So what happens to everybody else?
Yeah, that's right. This will continue to be targeted to the smallest businesses. You're right. Unfortunately, the Main Street programs facilities are being wound down. We would have liked to have kept them as a backstop for the economy heading forward. And so we're going to have to pay really close attention to those mid-market companies and where they fare. There is good news for airlines in this package, an additional relief package for them, like we saw in the original CARES Act. But we're mindful of what's happening in the rest of the economy as well.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.